Now that I'm a little older and can look back on my 18-year-old self, I realise I did so many things wrong. I would have so much to tell that young Ned. He went through endless mistakes, had ongoing misery, and didn't even have purpose to live every day to its fullest. It truly is very frustrating to think back on, to the point where I would want to shake myself to wake up and get onto the right path. And so because you're 18 like I was nearly 4 years ago now, the wisdom that I would tell to my younger self really comes from the heart. I would of course love to have set myself straight and get myself on the right path at a much younger age. And if 18-year-old me had all of the knowledge that I have now, he would grow up to be 4 times the man that I am today. Which means that you'll be able to find this information especially useful, since you'll be able to use it to improve more and not make the same mistakes that I did, which will lead you down the correct path and will take you much further than I am now. So the first and most important thing that I would tell my 18-year-old self is to find what resonates with you. Basically find your purpose. Because purpose would have given me a fundamental reason to improve all aspects of my life. I of course had no purpose, and growing up I was the type of kid where in school or my parents' friends or whoever would ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I never had an answer. If you had to do a task in school about what you wanted to be when you grew up, you would say footballer or something kind of superficial. But realistically you had no clue what you wanted, and you had no idea what your future might have been like. And of course that was exactly what I was like, and you can probably relate to that. Which of course always led me to really look forward to coming home after school just so I could waste time, distract myself, chase fake purpose in the form of video games, and chase fake intimacy in the form of porn. And if I had any sort of purpose that I wanted to achieve, I would have at least had a reason to stop doing those habits and do something productive. But of course I didn't. And it was only when I started going to the gym again, I had a reason for my everyday actions. And before I started going to the gym again and before I was playing basketball, my everyday actions would only align to whatever made me feel best. Because again, I had no purpose. But of course I didn't take going to the gym as serious as I should have. I didn't align as much of my life as I possibly could to it, which made me suffer for no reason. Secondly, stop doing the bad habits. And I think I did every single one of them. I watched porn, I ate junk food regularly and sometimes even binged, played video games, distracted myself and wasted all of my time. And the only productive thing that I did do was when I started going to the gym later that year, while on a dirty bulk. My life was objectively bad, which gave me a reason to keep doing the bad habits, which was to give me a nice comfortable feeling when my life was completely miserable. And one thing that I find very interesting is the type of video games that I did play, which at the time were FIFA, NBA 2K and Red Dead Redemption. All of those games fulfill the basic needs that all men want. Things like progress, overcoming challenge, brotherhood and purpose. Which is a very big problem because it meant that those games replaced the need to achieve and get those things in real life. And leaves young men like my 18-year-old self stuck inside while not improving my life at all. And once again, if I had purpose, I would have had reason to stop playing video games. I knew that I should have stopped watching porn a long time ago, but it felt good and I got a nice sense of intimacy from it, so I never stopped. I knew that I should have stopped eating junk food and definitely stopped binging. And again, doing those things made me feel good in the moment, so I never stopped doing them, even if I felt awful about myself after. I never wanted to do anything productive, so I never did and just wasted my time. But it was a year later when I got into dropshipping. I had all the information that I needed. I had bought a course and the course literally took me step by step on how to build a Shopify website. And I kept telling myself day after day that I was going to do it, and that stretched on for 3 months. And so even when I was a bit older, I kept wasting my time. So I continued doing all of those bad habits, and all they did was keep me back from becoming my best self and living a life with purpose. But now I can learn from that and pass on my wisdom to you in the hopes that you take it, learn from it, and don't make the same mistakes as I did. After that, find your balls. Yes, I physically had balls, but not spiritually. Anytime there was injustice or was something that just wasn't right, I never spoke up at all. It was like I was never even there. So I guess the bigger picture of this point would be to develop my masculinity. And I truly find it fascinating how fundamentally important purpose and developing your masculinity is as a man. Because masculinity and purpose are two things that cover all aspects of life and all of the things in it. And if you focus on achieving your purpose and becoming the most masculine version of yourself, it will mean that you will know every single productive and good thing that you need to do. And because you know you need to do it, you will do it well, and do it even if you don't feel like it. And so we've already talked about the importance of purpose, but masculinity covers things like speaking up and finding your balls. Because I know now that if I don't speak when there's injustice, live my truth, or try to make the world a better place, I will lose a part of my masculinity. And so knowing that, I now have a reason to do the right thing even if it is very difficult. Good men do the right thing even if it puts them in danger or in harm's way. Of course you're going to have to learn to speak up and stand up for yourself. Sure, there's going to be times where someone else does it for you, but that won't be always. And the large majority of the time, people will be looking around for someone else to speak up and make things right. They'll look at you and see that you're built for it, but they know deep down that you won't do it. And the only time I ever stood up for myself was with my parents or with my girlfriend at the time. And I find that quite embarrassing because those are the people that you're supposed to love the absolute most in your life. And I feel like I kind of took advantage of them because it meant that I was able to unload all my frustrations when I wasn't able to speak up onto them. So all in all, it meant that I kept having chances to develop my masculinity by speaking up and living my truth. But I was too pussy to do that and instead lived a feminine and reserved life. Do not stop lifting. This is one of the smaller points, but it is still very vital. Because having a strong muscular body is one of the fundamental pillars of confidence for men. I did lift part of the way through being 18, but then I stopped when I found more important things to pursue. And the point isn't merely to just keep lifting, it's more than that. Which is to make time for important things in your life that are besides your purpose. Because I stopped lifting and didn't care for it at all when I wanted to start making money. And still didn't care about it until very recently. But now the desire to have a strong muscular body has came back for me. And I seriously regret not putting in a little more effort those few years ago. Because it now means that one of my fundamental pillars of confidence is weak. All because I didn't have time to continue lifting and at least maintain my physique. No one ever regrets going to the gym and building up a strong and muscular body. And lastly, just pick up a book. This is another point that goes beyond the surface level. Because sure, I watch productive things on YouTube, but that's easy and everybody can do that. And I was so overstimulated that I would be laying in bed watching YouTube while playing games on my phone at the same time. So even the thought of reading a book was beyond me. But it would have helped my life so much. Because I would have finally been able to gain control of my life. Because reading is fun, but not as fun as watching things. And YouTube did have complete control over me, because it would reel me in, having me watch their videos and give me absurd dopamine spikes that would keep me coming back to get more and more next time. But if I would have started to read books, I would have started to peel away from that. And I would have started gaining control of my life and the actions that I take. Because I would have been less stimulated. And the actions that I would take would be towards whatever improves the quality of my life the most. And not towards what gives me the most dopamine and most happiness in the moment. Of course, all of that, in addition to the fact that I would have been learning things. And likely remembering more things because I would have had to use more brain power to remember it and recall the things. Instead of all of it being laid out to me in video form. And once again, because I had no purpose, I had no reason to start doing the hard things. Thinking objectively if my life is going in a good direction, and also thinking about the second, third and fourth consequences of all of my actions. And so I really hope that you've learned at least something that you can take away from this video. I know that if my past self had heard these things and applied them, I would have been 4 times the man that I am now. And so it certainly means that you can take everything said in this video, apply it and become much more greater than me. I know you can do it. I believe in you.